I mean, that checks out, but also I want to point out a difference.
It doesn't check out, but okay.
When she's tweeting, I hate men, she's saying it because it's chic. And like she pointed out, she was participating in hookup culture because of Cardi B. It's not because I don't think she actually has, if you were to put her on a like lie detector test, I don't think she actually has hatred towards men. I don't think she actually, gets off on violence towards men. I think a lot of men, though, who do have those shirts, I think they do feel rejected from women. I think they feel ostracized in society. And I think they do have uniquely bad feelings towards women. I 100% would bet my life that she does not, and girls who tweet things like that are just trying to be fashionable.
Well, the only person I ever wanted to like hurt was my father.
Like, why are you making these assumptions?
It's a panel. What?
But I mean, she's pretty like on the spot with that.
No, but you can't walk back.
But that's why I mentioned gay culture, because in gay culture, being for the girls, gays, and theys, that like what she's saying.
Even gay men tweet like,
it's a statement. It's a trend, and that no offense, but I want to
I think it's corny, and they shouldn't say it, but it's not at all parallel to misogyny.
And how?
At some point, degrading and making jokes about your wife or whatever was almost as fashionable as saying I hate men. Like back in the days, men would sit around and
like, oh, women, right?
But just to address the breeding ground for the violence that we're speaking about.
Okay. But to address your point that it's chic or cool or quirky to hate men, how emblematic is it of a just failure of society that men are not given respect, and that it's a joke to hate men, that it's acceptable to hate men? That would be bigger evidence of male because if you say I hate women, the forces of feminism will descend upon you, and you're going to get canceled, you'll get kicked out of school, you're going to lose opportunities. But nobody bats an eye if a woman says things that are misandric or hateful towards men.
First of all, that's not true. I think you should take a look at the streaming community. CHIC is just drenched in misogyny and people making like anti-women jokes. They're flipping on platforms.
Quirky.
Well,
no, it's not. No, my point was he was saying they would get
canceled. The history of violence against women is way more extreme than men.
They're not going to be deplatformed.
According to you guys, your argument is this is just quirky, right? This is just quirky.
I think there's truth to it.
We're funning, right?
Yes,
so, okay,
that's
so
what I was saying. I think
it's
fine for those kick boys to say that, because I think they're just poking fun and I think they're being stupid. I don't think it's.
But let me ask you a question. Let's assume what she's saying is not a joke. Is it still funny?
It's half true.
If women were to mean it, it's one thing. I don't think she means it, because these women are still down bad for male attention. I think the guys who do say I hate women, I think they genuinely feel it, because they feel rejected and ostracized by women.
Let's put it this way. Like a girl will be like, oh, that guy blew me off, or he like slept with my best friend, and then you're like, oh, I hate men.
Yeah, they say
and then like a girl will literally not give you her number, and he'll fucking you and follow you home.
When men say happen,
what percentage?
I've been essayed 5 times, and it's all from rejection.
First off, that's terrible that happened. However, the example that you gave was that women are just en masse, wholesale, getting murdered for rejecting men. That's very rare. It does happen, but that's an extremely exceptional case.
Then I must be like the biggest outlier today.
Yikes. Enjoy your lonely man-hating life. I'm sure your husband will be enthused in saving his children rather than yourself. Why save you? You hate men. Why save you?
And remember that
you're men haters.
I love men.
Save me from what?
You're emotionally close to that, right? So I understand that you're emotionally close to it, but disconnect being emotional from it for a second.
Okay.
Let us assume for a second that you can agree with me that at least some women, just some, who will make tweets like this and are misandrous, will act out in a way which is harmful to males by either poisoning them, perhaps, like has been done in the past, or things like, okay. So even if you just grant that it's some, even if it's only 10% of what it is for men, or 30% of what it is for men, then you would still have to look at it and say, that's also bad and shouldn't happen the same way you would for men, right?
No, because the disparity in percents is what makes the difference.
Why is it
so big?
That's ridiculous.
And we're not talking about like
when men hate women, they're watching violent porn of women. Like, don't you think there are just stronger correlations between misogyny and actually getting off on women being than her? I don't think she would feel any joy watching a man get beat in porn, but I think men who say I hate women, they are watching torture porn.
I'll prove it to you. So let's take. I got to frame my language carefully here. But let's assume for a second that one of those school events, you know what I'm talking about, right? A school event perpetrated by a man.
Okay.
one of those types of events.
Certain type of man.
Let's assume we're going to say like almost all of them are done by men, right? But like, let's say hypothetically that 10 or 20% of them are done by women. Any of the tweets that would lead you down the same primrose path of thinking about men in that category that would lead to you thinking they would do that, whatever women tweeted out the same things that were similar to that, shouldn't it be the same red flag?
Yeah. I mean, if you're tweeting
find the I love men tweets.
Well,
literally the I love dick.
One is a call to
the I love
action
dick
or an
tweets are all
announcement.
over there.
You're incriminating yourself.
No, not always. They don't always incriminate themselves by saying I'm going to go do this thing, but they have red flag like behavior that leads to them doing the thing.
But earlier I even told you I had the chance to my father and I didn't, and I could have gotten away with it in self-defense.
Got to be careful in that language, right?
But like so. I literally had the opportunity and had the chance to get away with it, and I didn't do it. Yeah,
I know, but try to understand the kind of the way that you're making your arguments.
That not every girl that
kind of the way you're making your arguments and pushing your kind of worldview is to say I'm very emotionally close, and so therefore true, right?
The Nashville Christian school stand out as a written and entire manifesto of hate. Men will get into a fight and kick each other's ass. Women will poison or shoot you in the back.
What about war? What? Men are... He literally you said that they are the almost sole enforcers.
So I think the only difference is like men are more brutal with theirs and women are smarter about theirs.
You keep misinterpreting what I'm saying.
I
didn't say that because men are the enforcement arm, that means that they're in some way inherently violent.
They are inherently violent.
I'm saying they are.
Not all of them, but if we're talking about outliers, then the outliers in this case would be the men.
So hang on. So when I'm talking about force, and we're talking about inherent violence, then what I'm saying here is that the inherent violence, which is used to protect your rights, that's good force for you, right?
Men are inherently violent.
I mean, I'm ACAB, so that's not really like...
No, but that misses the point. The point is to say that violence itself is not bad. It's not inherently bad. It's only bad when it's used for a bad purpose, right?
Can you can you give me an example of when violence would be used for good?
Yeah, like if a man is using violence to protect your life, you wouldn't consider that to be bad violence. You would consider that like good violence, right?
I guess.
Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. So I'm just saying she's misinterpreting what I'm saying about enforcement.
No. I'm just saying
that doesn't mean that it's non-benevolent, because enforcement of your rights would be a benevolent thing.
I'm just saying that relates to kind of what we're speaking about in the fact that women on a larger scale face more violence from men than if you look at it on the other way. I'm not saying that
they don't.
I'm not saying that no woman has ever punched a man that they're dating. For example, men I date, I couldn't hurt them if I tried, unless I had like a knife or a gun. I'm so little. If I wanted to, I would really have to work to really physically harm most men that I date. Versus on the other hand, a man, most of the guys, I'm little. A guy could probably smack me one good time and whatever. So bringing that back to we're more likely to we face more violence than...
I think it's the opposite. So I see women hitting men all the time, and men just take it. I see it everywhere all the time, nonstop.
You see what?
I'm not making
women hit men constantly, and they don't do anything about it.
Where are you living?
But this is exactly what I'm saying. I can hit a man. I'm not saying it makes it right. I would have to hit you probably 5 more times to hurt you than you would have to hit me.
But even if I don't...
Agree or disagree?
Yeah. So
I'm not making it right. It's not cool if you
Okay, listen.
hit
I
men.
know. I'm trying to answer your question. So I would agree that, yes, you might have to apply much more force than a man, but violence is still violence, right? So it's still, even if you hit a man and it hurts less than when a man hits the man, who's the conductor of the violence if the man doesn't hit him and you do?
I got something really good on this.
That's the point.
I got something really good on this. So my understanding when it comes to, I believe it's non-reciprocal DV, the rates are actually the same between men and women. Yeah. One very interesting statistic is that the domestic violence rate amongst lesbian women is, I believe, much, much higher than between gay men.
It's 70%.
So if violence is a male thing, how do we explain that
lesbians
are crazy.
In homosexual relationships with 2 women versus 2 men, where you've removed the that dynamic, how can it be that the domestic violence rate is substantially higher in female-female relationships as compared to male-male relationships? And you're welcome to look up the stats on that, but it's been studied thoroughly.
It's 70% of all the domestic violence inside of homosexual groups is female on female.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I believe the numbers, but I kind of feel like I don't know.
That's good. Oh. And then, sorry, I was just go ahead.
What was I just saying?
You were saying you believe the numbers.
I think I could say, I don't know. I feel like women are maybe a little bit more emotionally like reactionary in terms of like when it comes to being in a relationship and reacting to, for the most part, we'll probably react a little bit quicker, or like a little bit more with more force or energy or emotion.
Violence.
In terms of
violence.
You could use the word. Well, I'm saying emotion because I'm saying like, which it's not. Abuse is yelling, screaming, whatever, kicking, violence, whatever. So all those things, like, we maybe get a little bit more amped up when it comes to like being in relationships. So maybe that's why. But I mean, for the most part, like, I don't.
So the only reason, so by that logic, then the only reason that women aren't smacking men when they're inside of relationships with them is because the man can hit her harder.
Probably.
I'm not gonna lie.
So that would mean that inherently you're saying that women are more violent than men.
Well, just like
that's what you'd be saying.
But we're talking about men versus women acting on their violence.
Right, but if you're saying that, no, it's actually that women are more violent. It's just that there's a deterrent.
Women have violence.
Hang on, let me finish.
I'm sure you wanted to smack a girl before and you
what she's
didn't
saying is
because
this. She's
you're a guy.
saying
You would hurt her.
but that's my point. Is that
that's what stopped you.
Yeah,
though.
but you're saying here, honestly saying here that women are more violent than men, and that the only reason, or at least in relationships, you must be, because you say that the reason that they attack each other in same-sex relationships more is because they're more violent. They just don't do that to men because men can hit them harder, so they have to restrain themselves from striking them, which means that if you were to reverse the role and say that men were the weaker sex, that women would be way more abusive to them than men are to women.
Gotcha, bitch.
Okay.
Just say it.
I mean,
that's crazy.
Wait,
I was just, you asked why it wasn't necessary. I was just saying what might the possibility be. Sure. I still stand that men are more abusive.
Let me do a couple chats, then we got some more tweets. We got more tweets. We got more tweets.
Tweeter.
Go ahead.
Boys, where the real men at?
Okay, this one, where's the real men?
Really? Where are they? March updated. Men are still trash.
2019. So that was you were. That was
most
4
of these
years
are
ago,
2019.
So you were 24 then. So I mean, fully functioning adult.
I was out of a breakup.
Okay. All right.
I'm not saying it's
next.
justified, but that's why I was hating men so much.
I'm crying.
Monthly update. Men are still trash. I need to make this a
2019?
scrapbook.
2018.
Trash.
Oh, read it.
Oh,
you go back.
Women why are men trash?
Next.
Women who seek to be equal with men lack ambition.
So what are you saying? Are you saying there is that women need to want to seek?
Hold on, let me think about this. I've got to go back to like 2012 here. What does that tweet say again? Women who seek to be equal with men.
It means superiority.
Lack ambition. What did I mean by that?
That means that you want women to seek superiority over men.
How is equal? I'm curious.
But how am I telling them they lack ambition?
As a woman, if equality is all you want, you lack ambition. Your conquest needs to go beyond just equality. It needs to be supremacy. That's my interpretation of it. I mean, how else would
Damn, I don't know if I was thinking that deep at 16, but maybe that's it. I'm not gonna, honestly, I don't, that one's recall.
Sure.
Maybe you could be correct with that one.
All right, next.
I have no defense for that.
Yeah.
It just came naturally to you.
Maybe.
Go ahead.
It's just crazy how someone can treat you so bad. Can hurt you so bad, then treat you like a sex object. Update. Men are still trash.
I guess, and there's a bunch more. My question to you is, why not just say my past partner was trash, or this specific individual, or these specific individuals are trash? Because to me, it occurs to me.
I could do that for you, Brian.
Thank you.
I could start that.
Watch,
you know,
she goes home and
I like to be
tonight.
open-minded.
Fuck this podcast host. Men are trash.
Oh no, I'll probably
Brian's
tweet.
trash.
I'm probably
Brian's
gonna
trash.
tweet.
Brian's
This
trash.
is for Brian. Men are okay. I'll tweet it right now.
I have a question.
Tweet it.
But you
Tweet
can't
it,
walk
do it.
back because you're
Give me my
being
phone.
because you're being confronted. I feel like you're walking back an actual genuine position that you hold.